box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Select to make your first pick.
Yo, what is up? It is your boy, GQAzndood, back again with another community night stream. The last one. Is it the last one? Yes, the last one before we come back to Gaming Academy. So, folks, if you guys love this segment of the show or this format, you know what? I might bring it back to another day outside of Tuesday, because Tuesday we have Gaming Academy, which is coming back on the 4th of November. Fantastic. If you haven't ordered your shirts yet, your hats, please feel free to do so. They are available to order now, now and forever. And also use the coupon year1 for a 10% discount. So let me pull that up for y'all so you guys have access to what I'm talking about. So check it out here on fourthworld.com and then use the code year1 for 10% off. For 10% off. Right. So I have actually people in my Facebook DMing me asking, dude, I want to buy your product. I want to buy your stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, just use year1 as a code. And yeah, you guys can get 10% off. So, you know, that's what it's up. So actually I should probably like put it here, right? Like I'm gonna put it here. Let's see what I can do here. Gamer quotient year GQG. All right, secondary text is this. Let's change the image to our logo. Right, so we're gonna be a little bit more official every week, every day. And if I'm muted, this is gonna be stupid because I've been chatting for a hot minute. Okay. Okay, I'm not muted, so thank God. But yes, check. What the heck? Check what's the deal. No, that's not what I wanted. Check what's the deal. I don't know who posted that. Impossible. I don't know what happened there. But here, let me see. So right there, use GQAzndood, fourthwall.com. GQAzndood shop.fourthwall.com. And can I use, where's my code, bro? You know, I gotta hook you guys up. Where's the caption? Here, we'll do this. Code Year one. Here. There we go. It's also in the spirit of Halloween. There you go. That's there you go. Is this right? Can I click on this? That's such a weird link. I wonder if that's only a Facebook thing. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you click on that, tell me what it does. I'm not putting that up there. But yeah, if you want to buy like shirts and stuff, here I show you what I'm talking about so I don't look crazy, right? I'm just spitting out deals. Nah, bro. This is legit. This is real. This is a real, okay? People wanted this, people were asking for it, and I want to see your gear in chat. I want to see your gear on share your gear on social media. So let's see, share screen share. Let's do gamer quotient right here, right? Bam, bam. So let's see here. Move this guy. Okay. Boom. And can we put it? Would it still work if I do that this way? Yeah, but it's in the way. All right. Anyway, you guys can check it out here. And then, yeah, this is what we do. So we got shirts, we got mugs, we got a mug, right? Welcome to the next class, a parody on the Sega, the Sega. Welcome to the next level, kind of like, what do you call this? Parody, right? So that's super cool. The gamer quotient, Neurogamer T. We got the Neurogamer hat as well, and the GQ Gamer Brain Kiss cut sticker. Gamer quotient, gamer brain. I should just switch that to Neurogamer. That'd be a cool. I wonder if that's a really cool like name, right? Neurogamer. I'm sure there's a Neurogamer somewhere on the internet already. I should patent that Neurogamer. So what was this? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Why is it not full screen though? That's weird. Maximize. It is maximized. Okay. But yeah, that's all we have for now. So if you guys are considering more product, more gear, like hoodies, and stuff like that. We just gotta sell more merch. The more merch you sell, the more merch we can get. So, check that out, see if that works. But that'd be awesome if you did. And if that works. And yeah, also let me know if that QR code works. If it works, fantastic. I would highly appreciate that. Right. We just want to know. Actually, let me do that too. I want to know where my stuff's going. Is it legit? Is it a scam? I hope not, because it's not a scam. It's going to Amazon. All right, that's not the right QR code. So let's change that QR code real quick, guys. What the heck? Here it is. Copy this. Paste. Boom. Okay, it's fixed now. Try it again. Okay. Hey, how's it going? Is it Covect? It's still going to Amazon. What? That's crazy. Well, I'm good at this, as you can tell. But tonight, I gotta really get that fixed. I'm not advertising very well. So let's see here. What the heck? I'm sorry, guys. It's really crazy to me. Save. It should take you there. Let me see. Yep. It's just maybe I got to refresh it. Hide. Show it again. Okay. But yes, I'm doing good, Kovac. Just having some technical difficulties as always. Um, but yes, tonight we have some video submissions from the Discord, right? And we got a few videos that they want me to cover here, and I'll bring it up right here, this second now. So one of these videos is actually, thanks, man, appreciate you. Is not that guy. My goodness, what is happening tonight? Share this tab is this one. So 1965. No, it's not going to be historical, piece, but the title of this video is called Thinking Critical. He predicted how comics would die, but they ignored him. So, why do you want me to look at this in the gaming channel? Well, Marvel's a big thing now. We got Spider-Man, Wolverine games coming out. And honestly, the comics had to die for the MCU to come back, and it's I think that's a big kind of a big deal, honestly. It's a big change. Hey, what's up, Blue? How's it going, man? Welcome. Yeah, just in time to check out the video that this submission is coming from Jagos on the Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy Discord. So shout out to Jagos if you're here tonight. Welcome, good to see you again. But for now, let us watch this video he submitted. Let me remove this QR code, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. And then and then this ticker as well. Time for everything. Also, is there audio? I don't think there's audio. Let me see if I can get audio. Um Hold on. Hold on. Share screen. Include audio. Yes, please. Okay. There we go.
Comics. Except Jim's also writing them for DC to help pay the bills. By 26, he's Marvel's youngest ever editor-in-chief, leading them to Secret Wars, the X-Men Renaissance, and an apex of storytelling the industry likely will never see again. He's basically the Mozart of four-color storytelling. So when he spoke about comics, people knew they should listen. In 1998, Jim Shooter wrote a book proposal, Supervillains, The Decline and Fall of the Comic Book Industry. It sat unpublished until August of 2025, when it hit his blog weeks after his death at 73. His predictions about the downfall of comics, every single one came true. The industry?
Honestly, sometimes it's just coincidence, but a lot of the times it's because people can identify patterns. And in business is very cyclical, right? So, and among many things, like fashion cyclical, like trends and stuff are cyclical. So just know that like he's not a fortune teller. He just took the data from what he's seen, and then can foretell what's going to happen due to the trends, patterns that he's seen with the data.
Still pretending they never heard the warnings. What happens when the profit of comics is ignored and every warning becomes reality? Stick around. This is the story the industry prayed you'd never hear. But first, a quick shout out to the 616 Comics. They support honest conversation in the industry and help me keep delivering amazing videos. If you want the most badass exclusive variant covers and the best prices on ratio variants, check out their site. Special discount code in the video description. Shooter's opening salvo is pure napalm. Financial predators swoop to attack this plump, defenseless little business, damaging its markets, driving away talent, and cutting out the creative heart.
Okay. Shout out to Jim Shooter. God bless your soul. Does that sound kind of like the MCU right now? A little bit. Do you feel like there's a similar thing happening right now? And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the game industry is very close to this. Financial predators, microtransactions, right? Swoop down to plump, over bloated what do you call it? Not funding, but over blood budgets, over bloated budgets on gaming, right? Defenseless little business, indie developers, right? Damaging its markets, Microtransactions, man. If you're focusing on microtransactions versus content and quality, right? Uh, it's crazy. Season pass, games as a live service, right? Driving away talent. We don't need your old way of thinking. We need new way of thinking. We want the new audience, the modern audience, and cutting out its creative heart, focusing more on the return versus than the vision, right? So, hey, there's the trend, right? And it can be parodied anywhere. So here it is.
Marvel in the 80s. X-Men and Spider-Man are flying off shelves. Creativity for days. And the future is bulletproof. Enter Ron Perlman, a Wall Street shark who couldn't care less about comics, but wanted the brand. In 1989, he buys Marvel for $82.5 million. Classic corporate raider. Load the company with debt, strip it for assets, and squeeze every last penny out.
They're doing that right now with this game right here. Just to let you know, there's nothing different about what's happening with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. They're doing it with this game right here. Telling you that right now, I see it coming.
Shooter watched the magic die in real time, writing, when you let the money men run the show, you lose the heart. And without the heart, you're just printing paper. But Perlman wasn't alone. Mario Gabelli and other Wall Street vultures fed, treating Marvel's iconic characters like a pump and dump play. Spider-Man became a revenue stream. X-Men? Intellectual property. The Fantastic Four? Just a line on a balance sheet. Shooter spells it out. They turned storytelling into spreadsheets. Characters became assets. Creators became content providers. The magic died in a boardroom. And the bleeding began. Under Perlman's reign, Marvel went public. Buying Heroes World was supposed to be their masterstroke. You might want to write that one down. It's going to matter later. And then came the fire sale. Movie rights to A-list heroes, a crash, bankruptcy, and finally carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey. The House of Ideas became a cautionary tale. What happens when Wall Street gets its claws into creativity? Fast forward to 2009.
I mean,
Disney drops $4 billion on Marvel because Bob Iger needed.
I was like, what the heck? That's not stopping. We know all the time. I talked about this in high school. We've like briefly chatted about this idea of how whenever you inject money into art, the art suffers because the expression is now limited to how the money is returned, right? So if you're putting money down into art, the money goes, well, I gave you $10, I expect 20. So I don't care if you got to be creative, right? I just want that $20 back, or my return, right? My 100% return. So it does set limitations. This is why there's over budgets. Over budgets are just people investing into it. We have a lot of budget because they feel that they're going to get some money back. So that it creates high expectations for specific projects and just specific anything that there's a product to be had, right?
A boys brand to sit next to his princesses. Marvel became glorified R&D. Keep the trademarks alive, skip any real publishing strategy, feed the DEI machine, and let the real money roll in from movies and merch. That's why Shooter's words hit even harder today. When your publishing division exists to serve your media division, you're not a comic company anymore. You're a licensing operation with delusions of grandeur. Corporate raiders use the Marvel playbook on any comic company worth $1. Buy the IP, screw the comics, gut the talent, milk the brand, repeat. Comics turn into content farms, and content farms don't create classic stories.
Yeah. Content farms don't create classic stories. It's like regurgitated, content again. This is why they're not. You notice that, guys? They're not creating new things, right? They're like reverse gendering current IPs. They're adding women, like female Captain America, female Iron Man, right? But they're not creating new and unique with their own unique story and it's telling you right here, right now, for those who argue with this conversation all the time, right? It's not that we're mad they're making Iron Man a woman, Ironheart or whatever. We're mad that they don't have the legacy behind them. They're just granted this title, right? While Iron Man had to work through it, and Iron Man had to earn our respect and our money and our time and our you know, and our attention basically. And you expect us to like this new content right away? There's going to be some pushback to that, for because true fans know the lore, they know the story, they know the legacy, right? So this applies to a variety of different things, even in games, right? When you create a new game, it's automatically going to be like, oh, it's like a Souls-like game. Well, why is it called that? Because Dark Souls coined the idea and the design, and you're trying to replicate it, right? Because that's what's hot right now. That's what's trendy, right? But is it Vikings? So it's Dark Souls, but with Vikings. You know what I'm saying? So it's really not unique. It's already been done, and those who kind of dare to go beyond the trend get crucified for it, because it's not what's cool right now. And I think this is why indies are coming back, because indies are like, we don't have a big budget to work with. We don't have people to tell us what to do. We just have our vision and our limited resources, which makes it for them to be creative in how they do things, because, limitations breed innovation, right? And creativity.
They serve quarterly quotas. Shooter's warning should echo in every executive's ear. When you treat art like inventory, don't be surprised when nobody wants to buy it. And here we are in 2025. Disney's out of Marvel stories worth adapting. The MCU is collapsing, but corporate pillaging was just the opening salvo. Shooter warned about the gimmick apocalypse that followed.
And don't forget the reign of content on Disney Plus that they gave us, and the amount of it, and how much each like what, $1 million per episode, something like that. That's crazy. That is insane for a budget.
Inflated numbers masking the real cash. Shooter watched the 90s comic bubble firsthand and, with the kind of bluntness only he could deliver, called a spade a spade. The industry had been enjoying a boom driven by speculators and collectors for several years. Following Marvel's lead, virtually every company was producing collectible special issues with wild abandon. X-Men #1, 8 million copies shipped, most of them hoarded away like gold bars. Hologram covers, foil variants, bagged issues, die cuts. If you could turn a cover into a gimmick, it happened.
Yeah, variants.
Everything was an investment until everyone realized they bought the same rare issue as millions of other people. Jim saw through the collectible and paper asset bullshit. The boom was false prosperity. For some reason, in August of '93, the collectors all got wise at once to the fact that if 14 million copies of an issue have been squirreled away by collectors, its greatest value is as bird cage liner. And then the bubble burst. Retailers were buried under mountains of unsellable junk. Many of them went under for good. History.
And I love how they use the death of Superman, because one, wow, you can kill Superman? I did not know that. And two, it's a big deal. And even I fell for it. As a Marvel fan when I was a kid, I bought the Death of Superman comic just because I was like, how in the hell did they kill Superman? That's crazy. Is that it? And then they brought his ass back like 3 episodes later, or 3 comic book later, and I was like, this isn't the death of Superman. This is like an episode. This is not a big deal anymore. I definitely got conned on it.
Plagiarizing itself. Marvel drops 37 variants for Deadpool Batman. 1 in 100, 1 in 200 ratio variants. Force shops to buy stacks of unsellable books just to qualify for a single hot cover. Think Bernie Madoff, but with shinier covers and less shame. The hollow corpse of what was once the world's greatest storytelling medium is now stitched together with endless covers. Shooter predicted this mess decades ago. Such tactics transformed comics into disposable commodities and eroded retailer trust. Right between the fucking eyes. Gimmick marketing is worse than ever. Sales keep cratering, and you can't even call today's collapse a bubble, because comics never fully recovered from the first one.
Yeah.
Shooter's final words on the subject. You can only fool people for so long before they stop coming back. I wonder why the comic book industry liked to dismiss Jim Shooter as a tyrant. because he was the one calling out their bullshit. False prosperity wasn't the end of the collapse Shooter warned about. Next to crumble were the pipelines between comics and shops, the distribution system itself. And not surprisingly, Jim Shooter saw this disaster coming from a mile away.
Also, doesn't Jim Shooter look like a Bizarro Superman? He kind of looks like Christopher Reeve, right? But like the evil version of Christopher Reeve. Like, this man's got a jawline of steel. Look at this thing. It's crazy. Like, they definitely masculine, dude. But like, dude, there was no lies told. He knew what was happening.
In 1992, when I told then Marvel president Terry Stewart that marketing gimmicks would eventually fail, he laughed. Shooter recalled in his 1998 critique. And that same short-term thinking drove Marvel's next suicidal move, buying Heroes World, a small regional distributor, in 1994.
Just keep in mind, a marketing like CEO or president laughed at a guy for I don't think he's being negative, but I think he's just being cautious. But the arrogance of this like Terry Stewart guy to be like, dude, you're insane. They're gonna keep buying this forever. Nothing lasts forever. Things are trendy. Now, if you have an attitude of going into it like that, Terry Stewart wanted they wanted to milk this thing to the ground, right? They didn't care about it. They don't care about you. They just care about your money, how much money you're giving them.
Shooter correctly identified this fiasco and explained exactly how it would poison everything that came after. The Heroes World deal he wrote fractured distribution channels, imposed unfavorable terms on retailers, and accelerated closures. Marvel nuked the comic industry's distribution network to crown themselves king. Except they forgot one tiny little detail. They knew absolutely fuck all about distribution. The 90s turned into a bloodbath. Exclusive deals wiped out small distributors one by one. Diamond emerged from the carnage as the lone survivor, wielding a monopoly that suffocated the industry for decades. His words in 98, insane power in one hand, recipe for stranglehold. Jump to January 2025. Diamond files Chapter 11.
Yikes.
Delays, damages, non-returnable product, retailers left holding the bag while publishers scramble for their missing payments. With Diamond's monopoly gone, hundreds of small publishers are now fighting for scraps of national distribution. Sure would be nice to have regional comic book distribution, wouldn't it? Shooter called it inevitable doom. Diamond called it restructuring. I'll give Jim the W on that one. Shooter summed it up bluntly. Marvel's ill-fated self-distribution push cost millions, forcing retailer over-orders on gimmicks. Sound familiar? Yeah, the pattern repeats. Distribution chaos crippled retailers, starved publishers, and left the whole system bleeding cash.
Bro, I'm telling you, and I want to add a real-time experience with this topic right now. Right now, one of the hottest games on the trading card circuit, it's not Magic the Gathering, but this is still pretty bad. Right now, Bandai Namco is printing the Gundam card game, right? And I have friends and people in the industry, right? And these stores are ordering like 20 boxes, like 50, like 20 starter decks, right? And they're getting like 6, right? They're getting like 3, and it's like their distribution is just so trash. And I don't know if it's on purpose, but it sounds like what they're doing is creating this false sense of like FOMO, right? So people are like overcharging people for these like $12 starter decks for like 30 to 40 bucks, right? Sometimes 70 if you get really desperate enough. You go on eBay and it's a bloodbath in there. It's insane how much they're charging over there. A box of Gundam cards should be about $120 or less, right? Some places are selling it for 170. Some on eBay are selling it for 200. Dude, these guys honestly do not care. These guys, as in Bandai Namco and distribution, as long they just sell the stuff. It's like here you go. We've made our money. Fight amongst yourselves, and you guys take care of each other, right? In a capitalistic society, bro, you're gonna pay premium price for supply and demand, and they're creating a fake supply and increasing a fake demand, right? Because I'm not gonna, because they have so many card games, and it's not even like it's like Gundam is not even like the number one card game on all of them. It's just so limited that people are talking about it and they're so loud about it, right? It's so stupid. Yeah, Blue, you're right, man. And this is why I preface this video in the beginning. Doesn't this sound really familiar to a lot of other things in life that we see? Video games, right? And other pop culture content, right?
And when that happens, somebody's got to eat a shit sandwich. And it sure wasn't going to be the executives who broke everything to begin with. But that's the next disaster Shooter predicted. Jim's mic drop from 1998. Monopolies don't create stability, they create single points of catastrophic failure. Anybody else remember COVID-19? Comic leadership ignored the fracture lines for decades. Now the system splintered beyond repair. Today, the two biggest distributors left in North America have little or no interest in small press. Shooter spelled out all the dangers. Instead of listening, they called him a dictator. Remember that shit sandwich I mentioned a minute ago? The talent ate it. The writers and artists, the lifeblood of comics, were the first tossed aside when the money got tight. Shooter didn't mince words. They drove away talent and cut out the company's creative heart. First, let's rewind. The comic industry has a long, ugly history of screwing over its own talent. Even Jack Kirby, arguably the greatest artist in comics history, had to fight Marvel just to claw back pieces of his own work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and remember, like, there's like debate whether who owned Thanos or not. Like, it's so confusing. And then if Marvel gives people that created these characters royalties, right? Like, does Rob Liefeld get royalties from Deadpool, right? Stuff like this. Like, dude, it's bloody out there, you know. And this is why when you have your own IP, you got to protect it. And this is why I'm kind of a mixed bag with Nintendo. Like, I get it, they're protecting their IP and stuff like that, but yeah, if somebody else had used it, you know, they would want to get royalties from that as well, right? And this is why I think they're like super protective. Now, on the flip side, when you use one of their things, you know, they're like, hey, we're gonna sue you, stop it. So it's almost like it's a mirror, right? Exactly, like, you know, don't mess with us, we won't mess with you, kind of thing. But let's be real, like the pal world situation is out of control. You cannot say, hey, we've patented the ability to capture monsters using a ball. So what's stopping them from saying, hey, okay, we're instead of a ball, we're gonna use a cube. Oh, instead of a ball, we're gonna use an orb. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yet for decades, Marvel and DC still attracted the best. Writers and artists came to build legacies. But once the bean counters took over, royalties slashed, page rates gutted, health benefits? And that's a whole other video. Jim Shooter spelled out exactly how this would happen. When you stop valuing your stars, don't be surprised when they leave.
Facts.
And leave they did. At first, a trickle, big names drifting to creator-owned projects, indie imprints, or out of comics entirely into gaming and advertising. When you get to the 2020s, it's a full-blown talent catastrophe. Rick Remender turned down both X-Men and Batman, two of the biggest gigs in the entire business, because his giant generator imprint pays more and lets him own his own work. Meanwhile, page rates at Marvel and DC are actually lower now than they were 30 years ago. So, who fills the gap? Overseas talent, activists, and fanfic writers willing to work for sub-minimum rates.
That explains so much. That explains so much. Wow. Okay, I feel validated. Okay, and I kind of get an idea what's happening now.
The result? A revolving door of suctitude with no end in sight. Shooter's unpublished book hits it on the head. The system was designed to grind out product, not nurture vision. Creativity became a liability, something to be managed, not celebrated. Now deadlines are so tight you can see the clock in every panel. Editors chase Twitter clout instead of quality. The ones who stuck around the only ones who couldn't get a job anywhere else. And don't forget the star treatment. Marvel once built events around names like Chris Claremont, John Byrne, and Mark Millar. Today, the big event is figuring out which artist can crank out the most #1 covers and never do interiors again. His advice from '98: if you want loyalty, pay for it. If you want greatness, reward it. If you want mediocrity, keep doing what you're doing. Is there a clearer example of what he predicted than Marvel's recent Deadpool Batman #1? The irony, all these cost-saving measures only came at the price of the industry's soul. The best and brightest walked away, and what's left is creative malpractice. But hey, at least the suits got their bonuses, while fans got soft serve. The X-Man who poops ice cream.
Oh my god, dude. That's so cringe, bro. We go from like Jim Lee's X-Men, which is like prime X-Men, right, to soft serve.
Remember, Jim Shooter started writing comics professionally at just 13. He loved and lived superheroes his entire life. That's what makes his final reveal cut the deepest. Heroism died in comics over 30 years ago. Once upon a time, superheroes were American mythology. Spider-Man lived sacrifice. Captain America embodied conviction. The X-Men turned difference into destiny. Jim Shooter's era didn't just publish comics, it raised the bar for humanity. These characters were symbols that lifted readers up and made them believe in something greater. Remember that beautiful idea.
This is coming, dude. This man was aware. He is us. Jim Shooter is us. He represents us as the consumer, while at the same time being in the industry, right?
Because it's about to be torched. Cut to the 90s and beyond. Superheroes are a futile and bitter lot these days, always failing, losing, and impotently swearing vengeance, Shooter wrote. The men and women who once built an industry on hope started mass-producing cynicism and selling it as realism. The result? A parade of stupid ideas, as Shooter called them, where the only thing getting punched was the reader's belief in heroes. And that continues to this day. Tom King's Heroes in Crisis, superheroes brooding in therapy,
Invincible.
all to turn Flash into a mass murderer. Strange Adventures turned Adam Strange, a spacefaring knight, into a war criminal. Superman listens to children die every night and does nothing. Wonder Woman? No thank you. Jason Aaron's Thor, no longer worthy and replaced by his girlfriend. The Punisher, now born a serial killer whose wife and kids were terrified of him. Comics grew up. That's what they said. More like they dismantled the cultural touchstones that made heroes matter. The hottest franchise in all of comics today, DC's Absolute Universe, exclusively features some of the darkest, most pessimistic versions of Batman and Superman in the history of comic books. It's a formula that's only escalated since Jim wrote his book proposal.
Let's be real. Zack Snyder's DC universe was this exactly, right? Injustice was this exactly, right?
Alienating audiences seeking aspirational narratives. Shooter warned, the man was an oracle. This isn't just a tone shift, it's the final symptom of a long, deadly disease. From corporate mismanagement, gimmick addiction, distribution collapse, to today's hollow heroes. The rot is permanent. DC and Marvel call it progress. Shooter called it something else. Futile bitterness masquerading as sophistication. The industry ignored every warning, every plea to course correct, every basic truth about why heroes matter. Now look where we are. Superheroes are as lost as the industry itself. Jim Shooter wasn't a perfect man. He was blunt, stubborn, and his demand for perfection could be infuriating. But he loved superheroes, and he fought for their future, sometimes against everyone else in comics. He saw all the disasters coming and laid out exactly how to avoid them. The industry labeled him the Scourge. They ignored his warnings, made every short-term mistake imaginable, and sold the soul of the industry off to serve as IP for corporate giants who couldn't care less about comic books. Now, the industry is a shadow of what it was, and Shooter's words read like prophecy. If you want to
Well, that's why they call him the Scourge. He's the antithesis to the CEOs and suits.
know how we got here, don't listen to me. Listen to Jim Shooter. He wanted to save comics from today, but nobody else wanted to listen to him. Instead, they listened to people like Kelly Sue DeConnick, and the results to the entire industry were devastating. Want to know all the damage that Kelly did? Watch my next video. She was supposed to save comics. She didn't. I appreciate the time. And remember to keep thinking critical.
She's the what do you call this? The Anakin Skywalker of comics. That's wild. Not supposed to. You're supposed to destroy them, not join them. That's wild. That was good. Thank you, Jagos. I like that a lot. Yeah, that could be said with a lot of things in life or in our industry, right? Like gaming wise and etc. So, all right. So next video is the Mega Man fan games of Sage 2025. Let's pull that up. Let me take a swig here, and we'll get into it. Water.
For the uninitiated, this is basically a Sonic fan's Christmas because we are bombarded with so many amazing and ambitious fan projects from Sonic, Mega Man, Nintendo, and other fandoms. We also get looks at upcoming indie game projects, so there's so much to look forward to each year. Like last year, we're gonna do things a little different and start with Mega Man. I'd like more time with the Sonic titles, and I was waiting for Sonic Unleashed 3DS to be available. Now that it is, I can finally play it. Let's kick off our 2025 coverage with the Blue Bomber. I'm gonna highlight two games that I looked at last year but had small updates since that last video. Mega Man Game Maker 2 Remake returns with Gutsman stage. There are some improvements over the last year's build, like Mega Man being able to line up with the ladder, but I can also finally drop down to the next screen instead of dying in certain areas. To me, that's the bigger improvement. I still can't slide under blocks, but that slide comes in clutch when I really need it against the boss. It's not super useful now, but I bet it would work really well against Iceman. It's a good effort to recreate the original Mega Man, even down to the spike death. If I had some notes, the Hyper Bomb is almost like I'm throwing a Super Ball at times. Gutsman's platforms move at weird intervals where it becomes a waiting game to get through, and Gutsman can go from just jumping around to being extremely aggressive. But that's about it. I still recommend checking this out because it's a lot of fun to play Mega Man 1. Yeah, you heard that right. Anyway, hey, go for it, and to the dev, I hope to see more of this project. Mega Man X.
I also think that's a cool idea, how they had Super Mario Maker, but having like a Mega Man game, like, you know, that'd be kind of fun.
Mega Blaster returns with new playable characters, though I was only able to use them in the Legacy version, which still looks better than the supposed HD version. If you haven't seen it, it's a 2D fighting game similar to Mega Man The Power Battles, which is a very appealing idea. Unfortunately, I cannot think of anything else that's too different. I'm still able to exploit most battles as X, but the moment I get to Nightmare Mother, it becomes impossible. Changing the difficulty in the options doesn't seem to do anything, and then there's playing as Zero. His attacks make it impossible to exploit the game's engine, but it's still pretty easy to keep some of these enemies in a loop. The game does have a new version of Zero I was able to use in the Smeary Pixel version, but the slower main attack made him unplayable at times. Even with the higher damage output you can sometimes get, X has two armor variants which vary on playability. The Moonlight armor has the best moveset of the two and allows for a very good special attack that does a ton of damage. The Jotun armor is just terrible. There's a cool special attack that shoots the combo count very high, but the drawback is that the range is almost non-existent, and the windup takes nearly a second. This makes bosses like High Max impossible because he can just teleport constantly, and I can never tell if I'm breaking him out of his shield. I hate to sound harsh, but it does seem like this game wasn't tested for these additions to make sense. Go for it if you'd like, that's all I can say. And now we're going to do something interesting. There seems to be only one Mega Man inspired game at Sage this year. Ooh. Though if I am wrong, do not hesitate to let me know because I would really like to cover it.
Cool.
Anyway, the game is RoboGal.
Also, what is Sage? I've never I don't know what that is. We can chat, clarify that for me.
Truth be told, I've been following this game for a while and it looks very appealing. Once I saw it in the showcase video, I knew I had to try it out. First of all, the art is absolutely amazing. I'm really digging the sprite.
I'm assuming it's Gaming Expo. Right? Well, what's SA?
Right work, and I just love the many uses of purple. It's a great color to work with. The music is also pretty sweet too. Now for the game. You're given abilities similar to Mega Man. You have the standard shot, a charge shot, a slide, and the flop. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. But I did find a use for it in Hana Soul's level. Just like the Blue Bomber, you gain the ability to use attacks from other bosses when you defeat them. There are only two in this demo, which can be hit or miss. The Garden Vine was far more useful of the two since it goes really far and does a great job of dealing with unwanted enemies. I couldn't find an effective use for the Flame Claw due to its shorter reach, but there was something else that irked me about it. So when you slide with this sub-weapon equipped, it results in you doing a dash, which is neat, but it drains the hell out of your energy meter. It's situational, but I really don't want it because I can't slide then attack with the claw. Maybe if I was able to charge into this attack, I'd find more use for it, but I'm just not a fan. We can't talk about the game without discussing the levels, and holy freaking crap! These levels are so much fun to play. Playing off of fun gimmicks like retracting vines or just being a tougher Springman stage, I had a blast going through this game. The poisonous enemy in Hannisol's level threw me in for a loop, but I love how well many of these hazards in the game were implemented. If I had to nitpick a little bit, I'd probably adjust the springs and spikes near the end of Charwolf's stage. That last jump might be a little too close for comfort. I was going to complain about the sideways springs launching me into these spikes, but it's not as much of a concern if you've experienced it once. Having enemies and panels deflecting attacks that could hit other enemies was not something I was expecting to enjoy as much as I did, but it was pretty damn cool. Now for the bosses. Hannisol's battle was a little much at first, but once I figured out the pattern and what I was capable of, I locked in. Honestly, this one was a lot of fun to go through. Though if you try to use their weakness, it's not as easy. Sure, it does more damage, but I think it's better off having the distance with the charged plasma shot. Charwolf was the opposite. At no point I thought I was in any trouble. I might have gotten incredibly lucky here, but yeah, this was a complete cakewalk. There is a suggestion I do want to make about this fight. When they go into the attack where they bounce off walls and have all these projectiles going around, make them immune to attacks. They appear to be engulfed in flames, and it seems to resemble that of a bullet hell shooter. Why not add the extra challenge? Sure, it's going to make you wait a little bit, but I think this is acceptable. Again, it's only 2 levels, but this game is definitely worth keeping an eye on, so give it a shot.
Is that a City Connection
Mega Man Zero
reference?
vs. the Universe is a game that puts the players in the role of Zero as he takes on characters from other universes. The build has Shadow and Goku, so really this should have been called Versus the Multiverse. Multiverses. Anyway, these are 1v1 battles in the style of a Mega Man Zero boss, and holy crap, you're given so little health compared to your opponents. Fortunately, you can earn upgrades like the extra health and the sub-tanks because you're gonna need it at first. Shadow doesn't mess around, and even if you figure out his attack pattern, it's still a great fight. But I was not ready for how aggressive he was this early on. And before I say any more, it really does feel like a Mega Man Zero game. I'm sure there's something here that doesn't feel exact to the GBA originals, but as somebody who's only really played a bit of the first game, it feels close enough. Using the right bumper does feel kind of odd, but this is pretty standard on the Game Boy Advance and the DS, so I got a more authentic experience. Following the fight against Shadow is one against Goku, and this gets a little ridiculous. Before I go any further, these intros are amazing. Like, damn! It's reminding me of some of the high-quality animations I used to watch 10 years ago. Anyway, he has this combo that does so much damage, but aside from that, I only really got through this fight by attacking when he had a charged Kamehameha. Without that, I would probably be cooked, which can still happen in the second phase. This is where he transforms, and when I first fought him, this fight was actually a lot easier. Sure, he goes all around and charges a big Kamehameha, but the 3-slash combo is very powerful, and so is the charge attack. I did go back to fight both of them to see what I missed, and it's really RNG if they'll give you the openings to attack. Goku's Kaioken is probably the deadliest combo in the entire game because he just smacks you around and does a ton of damage. My other reason for going back is to earn crystals for upgrades. You're graded on how well you fight these opponents. Your score is anywhere from 0 to 100, and you're given a rank. The score that you get will also reflect the amount of crystals you get so you can use it in the in-game shop. While you do have items that'll help you out with your health,
I'm speechless, guys. I'm taking all this information in.
this game also has a bunch of costumes, which is going to have you grinding for a while, if you really want them. But if I can make a suggestion, I would probably add a harder mode just for the battling. I don't want to try to S-rank something like that. Maybe something that could scale up a little bit more when you have all of your health upgrades, but I do want this as optional. I don't want this as a mandatory change. But yeah, this one's really worth it. Give it a shot, and let me know if you get that elusive S-rank against Goku.
Dude, is that Goku sprite from something, or is that like completely like built from the ground up? I'm impressed if that's ground up.
I love D-makes. We've been over this, but they're really cool, and it's great to see what fans can do with limited palettes, limited abilities, or just getting rid of an entire dimension in their D-make. Mega Man X D-make takes the iconic 16-bit platformer and Mega Man X's debut, and turns it into an 8-bit adventure through the intro and Chill Penguin stage. You can play the game as X or Zero, and if you're wondering, yes, he has his saber, and it's a lot of fun to use. It's
so
pretty faithful to the
cool.
source material, and has a pretty solid NESification of the game as well, if you want to call it that. You can still obtain the leg upgrade in Chill Penguin stage, but you have a lot less text from Dr. Light. And with a purposefully limited control scheme, the game feels closer to like Bass in Mega Man and Bass, or Mega Man 10. I was also going to say Mega Man Extreme, but I think those are better examples. And the reason I say that is because the dash button can be executed by pressing down on the jump button. There's not a whole lot else to bring up, everything's pretty faithful, it's visually appealing even with a minimal look, and the music is nice. I love these demake projects, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing future builds of this game because this was a lot of fun. I'm surprised I never played the Sage 2021 build of Megamet during that year's event, even though I played the Star Force fan game on my second channel. I eventually gave it a shot just to see what was up, and I really liked what I played. 4 years later, and the game makes its return to Sage. But before I continue,
this is like if Mega Man and that helmet character, like in Mega Man, like fused together. This is interesting.
I should disclose that I am a tester for the fan game, though I don't believe any input that I've given has affected this build of the game. I joined recently. I just wanted to get that out there in case there's like some kind of conflict of interest. I want to avoid that junk. The idea of the game is as if all characters, enemies, and bosses were turned into Mets. It still plays like a traditional game, but with a few additions. Yes, you have the shot, the slide, and the ability to use weapons by defeating robot masters, but the game introduces Mega Met's helmet as a shield. You can deflect small projectiles and the absolute smallest enemies, which gives another way to dispose of some obstacles or to give you some defense.
That's so cool.
The only drawback is that it's limited, which I think works out. You don't want something super overpowered. There is a bar next to the player's health and will deplete the more you use it.
Does it recharge?
Thankfully, it can be replenished by waiting or by picking up these helmet items, so it's not like you have to be very careful with blocking.
It does recharge.
It's really neat, but it works really well with the levels that set you up just right with it. I found myself using it sometimes, but there are other instances where a Mega Buster shot works fine enough. The game has an intro level to help you understand your new abilities, and the current demo has 4 Robot Masters. Before I get into that, I can't get over how Mega Man and Dr. Wily have become Mets. It's hilarious to see Rock angry at the evil Doctor. I love it. There are 4 Robot Masters who have been given the Met treatment: Tornado Met, Ice Met, Magna Met, and Tomahawk Met. And I'm just gonna put it like this. The level design has got to be the strongest point of this game, because it's got the right amount of challenge with moments where I had to stop and say, damn, they really thought of that. Honestly, it's a great time. Some of it is stuff we've seen before, like the magnets from Mega Man 3, but the devs really went all out to making players navigate up and down, using the ice to form a path in Mega Met stage. Then there's Tornado and Tomahawk Mets levels just being incredibly solid. They're not as gimmicky as the other 2, but all 4 of these levels had me engaged at all times. Even the weapons are a blast to use. The only issue I guess I would have are the bosses. The ones like Ice Met, they're fine. It took a bit to understand Magna Mets, but I'm still very iffy on Tornado Met. Maybe I just need to jump in and play a couple more times. Nitpicks aside, the game plays really well and these remixes are fantastic, and I honestly can't wait to see what other remixes we get in the future. Oh, and this game is absolutely beautiful. I forgot to mention that. The graphics,
it is cool.
Spot on. It's got the NES Mega Man look. There's not much to dislike. Try it out if you haven't.
It looks like a real game. Like it's something they actually made this game. Like Capcom made like a parody game of it.
All the games shown off today, and I think that'll just about do it. Hey everyone, and thank you for checking out today's Sage 2025 video. Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you haven't played them yet, don't forget to try them out. There's going to be a link to every single game featured.
Okay, so there goes another one. You know, that's pretty cool. Like, and you know, the subtitle that Jagos put on here was, people are really building games that they love, and you know, people be Thanosing these games, be like, oh fine, I'll do it myself, right? And here it is. So, yeah. All right, last one, and I think this is the most controversial one. Oh, let me load this up for y'all. Okay, so the topic of this one is called the next Xbox will be a premium, high-end, and likely expensive package. By Luke Stevens, submitted by Jagos. So shout out Jagos one more time. So there has been articles that I've been seeing that like when Xbox releases the new Xbox 720X Series 7 Alpha Mega, right? It is going to be a luxury item, 100%. Probably will be like $1,000 at this point. It'll probably be just a computer. Honestly, like I think it's just going to be a computer that has that plays Xbox Game Pass games. But it's just going to be a gaming rig, right? It's going to be streamlined. It's going to be simple, right? But it's going to be expensive. If they're raising prices for the Xbox Series X, brother, I can only imagine what the next one's going to be.
And I'm gonna be real. It broke my brain when I read it. I didn't know how to respond. Xbox wants to be the Rolls-Royce of consoles from IGN, Next Gen Console Watch. And maybe it's just me, but the idea of Xbox framing themselves as like the premium at this point, like console, it's very funny to me. It just doesn't land right. Like the Rolls Royce of consoles. Okay, let's see. They're not even the Toyota. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Jacob says, I'm starting to think Xbox might just be incredibly stupid.
Honestly, on this topic, I feel like Xbox was the Honda Civic in the 360 era. Everybody just had one. It was a decently priced, affordable system, and it lasted forever, right? Um, Minus the red ring of death, right? But the Xbox 360 was like the console of that era. It was solid. It was easy to make games on, right? Aside from the red ring, I think it was definitely better. It was the clear winner of that console war for that era. It was PS2, Dreamcast was there, right? But man, we all know how that went. Um, and I would say PlayStation was probably like, how do I put this? Because I would say Honda and Toyota are always kind of like neck to neck with each other, right? But I actually probably knew Honda owners than Toyota, right? And here's the difference. If the 360 was a Honda Civic back in that time, and then Sony was like, you know what, we need to release our own version of this. But instead of doing their own Honda Civic, which would be actually, in my opinion, a Honda Civic for Toyota would be like a Toyota Corolla, right? And then the Honda Prelude, right? No, Honda Accord would be the Toyota Camry, which is funny, my car. But instead of, Xbox's Honda Civic, Sony went and made a Toyota like Supra. It was more expensive. It was specifically towards a certain individual that would buy a car like this, right? It wasn't for your regular man, regular gamer, right? Regular person. It was top of the line. It had Blu-ray technology, right? It had a bigger hard drive. It's already in there. You don't have to buy it separately. Um, Bro, it played Blu-rays instead of DVDs. It had all the accoutrements of like storage, like the memory stick, USB, right? All this crazy stuff. It was the thing, like almost too much. And it was also like $100, $200 more, right? Yeah, and you're right, Blue. Xbox used to be the cheap all-around device for everybody. And I feel like it was just a nice solid system. And this is coming from a PlayStation fan. Right? This is coming from a PlayStation 3 owner, not a 360 owner. This is coming from a PS2 owner, not an Xbox owner, right? But I can see success. I can see um which one is better, you know, and be okay with that. Like I'm not part of the console war. I play both sides, right? So, but I wholeheartedly agree that era Xbox did everything right. Matter of fact, when they made games for both systems, 360 and PS3, the ones on 360 always ran better, right? Because people knew how to make the games on the 360, not on the PS3 with their, blue cell processor, the proprietary product. So, they had to make those games and port them over to the PS3 and their architecture. And so not everybody was like, smart enough for that. And look what they did. They went back and they went back to like Nvidia and ATI hardware, right? So they knew that it was like not worth it. So I get, they learned from their mistake, hopefully.
What the hell does that even mean? I think we'll watch it. I think what they mean is that Xbox is going to have $1,000 console next generation. And so they want to be like the most expensive. They want to be the most premium. And I do think that is what they're going to try to do. But I think Rolls-Royce brings with it a certain brand mystique and prestige that Xbox definitely does not have right now. So we'll see what they say, but that's what I think they're going with.
Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show discussing all the latest gaming hardware.
You know what that, in business talk, you know what that tells me, guys? 100% what they're going for. If they're if they really want to turn the Rolls Royce of console gaming into an Xbox, no one's gonna own it. No one's gonna have one. That's why. Think about it this way, right? Think about it. Out of everyone you know in your social network and environment, how many people do you actually know that owns a Rolls Royce? I'll wait. You know one? I don't know one. Maybe even the millionaires that I know, they don't own one. Right? They own like a Porsche, something more popular, right? Something that the most like the average person will fantasize having, right? But not a Rolls Royce. That is like high level luxury. Like all you think of is luxury in life. When you buy, $900 t-shirts, right? That's probably that type of person, right? But with that same amount of money, your normal guy will probably get like a Dodge Challenger that's like tricked out, right? All this crazy like add-ons to their favorite car, but not necessarily a Rolls Royce. So they want to. So if we parody this with gamers, right? What it's looking at is Xbox is not for you. You can't afford it. That's because you're broke. Don't buy our stuff. We don't want you buying our stuff. So they're honestly like, they've given up the console war and say, hey, Sony, you can have them. We'll just do this. And we're going to make a lot of money from it because they don't care about the fans. They care about making money now. Oof. Also not a good thing to be after that first video we watched. Right? Now we know, and we know better.
I'm Damon Hatfield, and as always, I'm joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of Podcast Unlocked, and Max Scoville, host of Podcast Beyond. And Microsoft is dropping little hints about its next-gen Xbox, suggesting it will be ultra-premium hardware.
I also have to say, I've watched these guys for so long. I remember being in high school and seeing videos of these dudes. Like, it's so weird to still see them doing this, like, even now. Well, a good bit more gray hair. I'm saying that as somebody that I started getting little gray hairs on the side of my head. It's freaking me out a little bit. But, like, it happens to us all. But it's very funny to see these same guys that I've watched forever, and they're still doing it. It's just funny.
Microsoft has promised next-level performance, cutting-edge graphics, breakthrough gameplay, and unmatched compatibility, and said everything it's working on will be fully compatible with users' existing Xbox game library. But how much will it cost, and just how powerful will it be?
Now, I will be shocked. I will be shocked if this new Xbox plays everything. I think that would be the dream. Series X, Xbox One, 360, and OG Xbox. Wow. That as a premium product, 100%. 100% a premium product. If even one of those is missing, not a premium product. Not a premium product. Now they're selling bus passes and Lexuses. Bruh. That they're going the extremes, right? They're going like, well, do you have a car or you just here's the bus pass. It's insane.
In an interview with Mashable, Xbox President Sarah Bond talked in vague terms.
You know what, honestly, Blue, I think I wouldn't count out a strategy that they're only, aside from PC, and when I mean PC, not Steam, right? Like they have their own Xbox platform, right? Another thing you have to download, yada yada yada, a Microsoft platform, and they want to put those exclusively with certain consoles, air quotes, right? and you can only play those in certain consoles, sans PC. Now, since they own basically the PC and the OS to the PC, why not, right? I don't see why they wouldn't, but like at the same time, I feel like if Sony was making the computers, it'd be a different story. I feel like they'd be like, okay, well, we need to make our own, right? Or we need to start charging, something like that. I just know that's like the path. They've talked about this.
About what Microsoft is going for with its next-gen console, but did suggest it'll be a premium hybrid PC and console. So Bond said, the next-gen console is going to be a very premium, very high-end, curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking we have in this handheld, but I don't want to give it all away.
So she points to the handheld as an example of some of what they're thinking. Okay. What are they thinking? What's been rumored is that it's going to be much more PC-like than console-like. What's rumored is that it will basically be a PC with swappable parts. You will be able to boot into a like Windows experience or into an Xbox interface, which is what's been suggested with the Xbox ROG Ally Xbox X or whatever, is that was kind of the original vision. And they want you to be able to play on any storefront. So you can download Steam to your next generation Xbox. Paired with this, and what she also alluded to, was that you will be able to play all of your backwards compatible Xbox games and like series games on that device. So it will play all Xbox games on the device natively, which is something that this cannot do. The ROG Ally, Xbox X, whatever, cannot just like boot an Xbox game. It has to be able to like run it. So it's not like one of those things where you see, oh, it's on the Series S, I can play it here. That's not how these PCs work. It's just different. And I don't know, man. I think that there is a market for a couch PC experience that is streamlined and intuitive. And I think that Steam, frankly, should tackle that. Like Steam should have some sort of just all-in-one PC that you plug into your TV, and it has the Steam OS presentation. And it's a pretty powerful PC, but it allows you to just play your Steam games on your TV. I know you can technically do that with Steam Link, and there's, people will have a PC hooked up to their TV and everything.
So the more he's talking about this with Steam, the more I'm thinking of the limitations on like an Xbox version of this. Swappable parts, I think that's cool. But what here's what I'm getting at. So right now they're experimenting with tiered versions of Xbox Game Pass, right? So I have a feeling they may also tier that at the Xbox PC, whatever it's called, right? And so, for example, like if you had, and the reason why is because they've already kind of done this, and it's a sneaky little thing. If no one's paying attention, they're gonna get away with it, right? Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X. Some games do not work on the Xbox Series S because they're made for the Xbox Series X because of limited processing power, graphical power, right? So I don't, man, this is like a nightmare scenario. This is I would not expect them. I would expect them, I should say. I would expect them to create a console, the Xbox X Lite, or whatever you want to call it, and only certain games from Game Pass will work on the Xbox Lite. So you have to upgrade your Xbox PC to the like gold version. So you now can play all the games on Xbox Game Pass that are able to play those games. So what does this mean? It means probably that the Xbox Game Pass Lite, the entry level, will most likely have indie games, right, that can only be played by the weaker version of this box. And so now you have to upgrade your box and also your Game Pass. Oh man, is this better? Like, or is this just like, oh my god, this is just, there's options, but they're terrible options. Do I shoot my dog or do I shoot my cat? It's oh, insane, bro.
thing. But I think an all-in-one package, an all-in-one box from Steam would do very well. I really, really do believe that. I don't know if Xbox is going to be able to nail it the way that they think they will. But let's continue seeing what they have to say.
That's not an Xbox.
That's a reference to the recently released ROG Xbox Ally X handle, which costs $1,000. So, Ryan, how do you interpret very premium, very high end?
These executives choose their words very carefully because they know that people are paying attention. And the fact that she chose the word very as another adjective to throw onto premium there just makes the dollar sign amount go up. That's more money. Yeah, it's...
See, these guys know. They're Blue, you, me, and these guys, we've been around enough to kind of like, we know what you're doing. We see what you're doing.
It does gel with kind of what's been rumored, what's been going around for a while, that this thing, the next Xbox console will in fact be more of a hybrid PC/console where you might be able to connect to multiple storefronts. We are seeing exactly that right now in the ROG Xbox Ally, like she referenced and as you just mentioned, Damon. So I think they're showing us exactly what they're doing. And next step is to take it to a set-top box. And if the Ally X is $1,000, granted, yes, it's a smaller form factor, so there's costs associated with that. But you can bet a set-top box. I mean, I would conservatively put the floor for this thing at $1,200, if in fact we're correct, and that Microsoft is making a hybrid console PC, which, Damon, I'm sure we'll get into. It kind of begs a lot of other questions.
The floor at $1,200. So he thinks the next gen Xbox starts at $1,200. What do you guys think? Do you think there's any world where that happens? I mean, woof. I think this is also so fascinating, and I think part of the reason this feels so like abrupt and sudden is because this past generation, like take it back to 2020, 2021, Xbox was framed as the budget, like cost effective option. So Xbox was selling their consoles both with the Series X, but also primarily with the Series S as like, if you don't have a lot of money, get the Series S and get Game Pass. You'll get incredible value. You can get all these games on a cheap piece of hardware. You can get into the next generation of gaming at a very, very approachable price. But the problem, and I think this is what they realized, the problem is when you do that, you build an audience and a customer base that is very, very price sensitive. And you build an audience of people that don't like spending premium dollars on things, which is a problem if you have the CFO of your company tell you need to increase margins to 30%. That's when you have a problem, because you need to start charging more, and all of a sudden they don't want to charge more. So I think what they're doing now is they're trying to swing the complete opposite way, and their goal for the next generation is for Xbox to be seen as the premium ultimate place to play games. So if you want the best graphically, like most graphically impressive version of a game, you check out what the Xbox version looks like or what the Steam version looks like, but like ultimately.
So there's a few things that that's frustrating right now, right? And this is kind of crazy because I'm like, this doesn't even necessarily affect me, but this is like the thing I love, right? And this is part of the industry that I yeah, that I'm seeing is, why the hell would I not just buy a computer at this point, right? Like, if it's going to be a TV, I need a TV or a monitor, I should say, and and I need the console to play games, bro. I'll just get a PC. I'll get it on Steam, and I guarantee you, the same game. Like if we get Shovel Knight, right? Shovel Knight is probably $20 on Steam. Or sorry, $20 on Xbox, but it's probably like $3 on Steam. So why would I just not get it on Steam? You know? Like that's the part they're not understanding. Console games or gamers are there because it's usually it's it's price effective for them, right? They don't care about playing the premium price, but they care about the experience. Maybe because the games were made more optimal back in the day, right? Developers optimize their games so they don't need crazy hardware. Like, what's the story behind Borderlands 4, right? Borderlands 4 still ran like crap, even though if you had like a crazy 1080, what's the crazy video card now? 4080 or something, right? It still ran like trash because they didn't optimize it very well. So this comes with the flip side to this, right? If I'm paying premium price for this hardware, well, you should also be delivering me a premium product as well on my games. But that's not being addressed right now, right? They're only focusing on the hardware, but we know there's nuance to this. We all know it because we consume this every day.
If you're looking at the console options, it's not the PS5 Pro or the PlayStation 6. It's what does the Xbox look like? Yeah, it's $1,200, so it better look good, but that's what they're ultimately looking for. And that is the same approach Apple has taken, where Apple, of course, sells themselves as the premium product, and their price points are really, really high. But coming with that is sort of a social status that you can afford that brand new iPhone. It's sort of a flex when you have the brand new iPhone the moment that it drops. It's kind of stupid, but that's just how it works. And on premium products, the margins are also, they tend to be much, much higher. So it ends up being much better for them in the long run. So, I mean, $1,200 is pretty steep, but then again, at the same time, right now they are actively selling an Xbox branded console that costs $1,000. So I guess it's not that insane. It just sounds wild to go that high. PlayStation 6 will be 800. I mean, that I don't think is insane. I think I'm more of the mind that like 700 is what they're looking at. But yeah, I mean, by the time we get it in a year or two, yeah, we might not be looking that far off from that.
With new, gentler...
So how do you feel about that? Because if this is their out there going, it really would sort of differentiate themselves from PlayStation and Nintendo, obviously. And I don't know. I don't feel that mad about it, because it's like, if they're going to create, a nice PC, close to a high-end PC, that's just an easy-to-use Xbox experience at your TV. I mean, that's what the price would cost. I don't know. I don't feel that worked up about it. How about you?
I feel the same way. Honestly, it's like, look, they've acknowledged, I mean, Phil Spencer has acknowledged that they have acknowledged that they've lost the console war. Like, it's over. Right. And the numbers have unfortunately continued to get worse for them this generation. So, but what we also know to be true, even separate from Microsoft's own mistakes that have led them to being in last place in the so-called console war, is that consoles are not growing. PC gaming is growing. And so to me, this hint that she's given here suggests that they are not even going to attempt to compete with Sony or Nintendo with their next generation hardware. And instead, as you noted, Damon, they are going for a sort of set-top PC, almost what Steam machines tried to do years ago, which will probably run, again, a more evolved version of the software that's on the ROG Xbox Ally X now. There's an Xbox layer, but then you can connect to other storefronts, and they are going after the growing PC market. So it'll be a very, very expensive console, but maybe a very, very affordable, relatively potent, powerful gaming PC. And I think that
I don't know if it's powerful gaming PC, because it's the customization and specs that most people flex when they have PC, and they flex their battle stations, right? And man, I don't know if you guys are like me, but when PC players talk about, oh, you're on console, like they think you're a pleb. Like they like brag about their PC and their battle station, their monitors, or their RGB lighting. Bro, it's crazy. It's not even the same. We're not on the same level as what the kids would say.
That could be wise. Now, you can trace.
I mean, I think there's also been a trend in the last 5 years or so. A lot of people are willing to spend a lot more money on their hobby as they get entrenched in it. And so, like, we're seeing PC gamers willing to spend a lot more money on graphics cards. We're seeing console gamers willing to spend a lot more money on their consoles, upwards of $1,000 for a handheld, or you know, $750 for PlayStation 5 Pro. And so I think that maybe the lean into the premium side of it is not that insane when they're looking at their metrics. Like, there's a lot of people out there that I think would buy it. And my stance has been, and I've said this for a while, I do think that there is a large group of people out there that desire a truly premium console experience. And I don't mean like the $700 PS5 Pro. It looks sort of better if you have a 100-inch TV. Other than that, you might not be able to really tell. I mean, like, people that are willing to spend $1,200 on a PlayStation 5 Ultra or truly Pro, that is a super premium device that actually looks and feels quantifiably better.
I mean, I'm a PlayStation fanboy. I don't even have a PS5 Pro right now. Who is this for? like that's the real question. Who is this for? Because most console players get a console specifically because, one, they don't want to mess around with the complexity of a PC, right? Which I guess there is a market for that, but how big is that market? And also I'm thinking, as you know, as an adult and you have kids and your kids are like, I want the new Xbox. Like, bitch, we're not getting you a $1,200 Xbox console. Like, you're a child. We're not getting that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's also going to be another piece of the marketplace that they're going to be missing out on, right? But I honestly, like, I think Blue, you're right. They're not going for quantity; they're going for quality. Question mark, because they're only gonna care about that 30% margin, per console, right? Because in the past they used to make negative money on console, and I feel like they're like, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're actually gonna be making more money now from console
than the base console. I do think that there is an audience for that. I think there's a lot of them, actually, like young adults or even middle-aged adults who are gamers, who have expendable income. Gaming is their hobby, and they'd be willing to spend money on it. A lot of people say build a PC. I'm a PC player. I mean, I obviously would agree with that. But there's a lot of people that really, really love gaming that just are not interested in PC gaming, that just are frankly more interested in the ease of console gaming, and plug it into the TV and they play the games. Like, they want to spend money, they're willing to spend money on their stuff, but they are not interested in PC gaming. And that's what I think Xbox is going to start to explore, and I think what Sony is also going to start to explore is just that potential. It's all about value for money. It doesn't matter the price as much as the representation of value for money. Oh, sure. Well, mandatory subscriptions, that's where I think you can start to get frustrated, Omar. I'll absolutely agree with you on that. But to be clear, there's sort of people, you say, in this economy, the crazy thing about the economy right now is, I just saw a metric. It was something stupid, like 51% of all retail spending in the last quarter came from the top, like, 2% of earners, which basically just means that 50% of all spending on everything came from very wealthy people. So people who didn't have a lot of money were not spending very much money. They were not going out shopping, even though there's a lot more poor people than there are rich people. The rich people were spending so much money that it ended up looking just fine on the bottom line. And I think that that's kind of what's happening in the gaming space too, where there's a lot of people that have expendable income on the top end, are willing to spend a lot of money on a high-end PC or high-end consoles or whatever. But there's also people that are being left behind on the lower end of the scale that are being priced out with things like massively expensive consoles, with games that are going up in price significantly, subscription models are going up in price significantly. But these companies, ultimately, they just care about the bottom line. So they're like, yeah, if we price out the people that don't have money to spend, but we price in the wealthy people that are willing to spend a lot of money, that's better for us. So they just don't really care. I think that's
Jagos, you sick bastard. Did you give me these 2 videos to make me upset tonight? The first video and this video are, see how it's like it's related in some way or form? Because they just don't care. They care about the bottom line. You know, more of this, more of the situation where we just care about the bottom line. You don't care about quality. You just want to get the money.
that's basically what's happening.
This all the way back and say, well, they would never even be in this position if they hadn't made all the mistakes in the last 2 generations. Maybe they'd still be going toe-to-toe with Sony and they'd have a stronger place in the console market. Totally get that. We can have that discussion. But they are where they are because of the choices they've made. And given where they are, this actually could be the best path forward for them. And it could be I don't know if it's the best path forward for the industry in the sense of, will Sony have any real competition at all, kind of in the traditional console space? Now, this next Xbox, even if it is a hybrid PC/console, it's still going to run most of the same games that the PlayStation 6 will. But yeah, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I joked earlier today when we were talking about the show that they want to be the new Neo Geo. You know, but it's not that different, actually. In the 90s, the Neo Geo was the ultra premium.
Andre, do you want to be Sega? No, they want to be the next Neo Geo
console. It provided the exact arcade experience at home. I think it was like $700, and the games were $100 or $200 each. Yep. But like, we gamers weren't mad about that. We dreamed of being able to afford a Neo Geo and having the best experience possible.
Lock in a free phone every year for the next 3 years. Guaranteed.
Max, rumors about the PlayStation 6 suggest something completely different. That it would come in 3 models, a base PS6, a PS6S that would be a little less powerful but also less expensive, and then also a dockable handheld version that would be somewhere in between and compete directly with Nintendo Switch 2. Completely different from what we're sort of hearing Microsoft would plan. What do you make of all this?
I think they've always been playing slightly different games. I mean, it's funny because the Xbox began as a direct Xbox. It was a way of streamlining with the Windows gaming experience on a console, and it seems almost like they're sort of moving back that direction. Sony hasn't really altered course that much, aside from allowing some of their games to be playable on PC, which presumably, if this rumored premium Xbox thing is open to multiple storefronts, you could conceivably get Steam games on there, so you'd be playing Ghost of Tsushima or whatever on a Xbox product, which we're already seeing with the ROG Ally. I guess I'm curious, where would it fall if this Xbox thing is sort of a hybrid PC Xbox experience? How much of a PC will it be? How much of an Xbox will it be? How is it going to kind of connect those dots? Because the second it becomes just unabashedly a PC, I don't think it's competing with Sony at all, because Sony makes this streamlined consumer facing sort of walled garden. Like you don't have to worry about drivers and system updates and turning off the widgets in your taskbar or whatever, which is, I know some stuff that some people checking out the Ally X for the first time were like, this doesn't really feel like Xbox. This feels kind of like Windows 11, because it is.
Yeah, for me, I think that's what it comes down to. It has to be streamlined like that for it to be interesting. Like, I have no problem with driver updates and stuff, but I do really like on consoles the fact that I can just press the power button and play a game. And if I have automatic updates installed, everything should be installed and ready to go the moment that I hit the power button, and I'm good to go. That's really, really convenient. A lot of people really, really like that. And if they can solve the problem of like creating a PC scalable console that can play any game on any storefront, like on Steam, but give you the experience of a console, that will work wonders. And that's sort of what Steam did with the Steam Deck, is they actually managed to solve that feeling in the handheld space. And it's why I really would hope that Steam would have an answer to this. If Steam has like a Steam console that they could put out that offers that experience all in one package, man, that would be fantastic. I'd be very, very excited to see that, but I guess time will tell.
And I mean, that's all very well and good. Like, I think there's ups and downs to both of these approaches. I don't know. It's interesting because like Sony and Nintendo are playing very different games, but obviously Sony, if they start putting out a hybrid console that is competing with the Switch, that is some amount of competition there, even if they're kind of trying to appeal to entirely different markets. Damon, to your point about the Neo Geo, yes, I think that there is room for premium stuff in this market. There is the possibility of having, very high end stuff. The key difference between, what maybe didn't work out so hot for the Neo Geo in the 90s and what companies are capable of doing now is they can get a better sense of exactly how many units they need to manufacture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know that, companies will get some flack if they put up like, crowdfunding campaigns. People are like, why do you need to make a Kickstarter? And it's like, no, really, they need to figure out exactly how many of these things they need to make so they're not losing money by them sitting on store shelves.
Oh man, this Neo Geo ad, bro.
Kickstarter, and it's like, no, really, they need to figure out exactly how many of these things they need to make.
1-800-800 Neo Geo extension 300. Available at selected Macy's, Save Mart, Manhattan Toys R Us, The Wiz, and Video Game Alliance. So I don't know any of those stores, and only the Manhattan Toys R Us. So clearly it's a high end Toys R Us. Video Game Alliance, don't know what that. I don't know what the Wiz is. Macy's, that's a department store. This is not a Sears. This is not a J.C. Penney. Macy's back in the day was pretty high end, right? So premium product. So no. So did you notice that I think Costco and other retailers have dropped Xbox? Are they only going to be in specific stores now? High-end stores?
So they're not losing money by them sitting on store shelves. I mean, that's pretty much how Valve handled the Steam Deck. They took pre-orders. They figured out exactly how many people are going to give them exactly how much money to make these things. And that way it's not, it's not this kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I could very easily see Xbox take a similar approach where they're like, hey, you want to get this thing? Here's how much it costs. Here's where you can sign up. I mean, that's kind of what happened with the ROG Ally,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. The only thing wrong with that is, like I said, it's not for the common man anymore, right? Like now they have to go through all this, especially if you've been a long-time Xbox fan, and maybe Xbox fans have evolved, right, to adults with money and careers. They just buy the stuff, but they don't play the games anymore. Like, that's a sad state of affairs. But who is this for? This is gonna be like a flexing tool. This is like the top shelf PS3 all over again.
No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, we've done it, ladies and gentlemen. After 5 years of the show, we got a Neo Geo commercial on Next Gen Console Watch. So, and there was much rejoicing. Ryan, is there any chance are the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is
They also need better naming conventions, for the love of God.
it's out apparently, doing well according to Xbox. Any chance Microsoft takes the same approach with the next Xbox as it does with the Ally X, meaning let a third party make it while Xbox provides the software?
No, not yet. I mean, that they shot that down pretty hard recently, saying that in no uncertain terms they'll be making their own hardware developed internally. They've got this long-term partnership with AMD. So, might someone besides Microsoft make the next generation handheld? Whether that's just Asus again with a successor to the ROG Ally X. Entirely possible, but yeah, I think as far as the home,
and you notice too, like the ROG Xbox Ally is just an Xbox X controller with a screen in the middle. That's all it is, really.
Machine itself, that is going to be a Microsoft designed and Microsoft built product.
Gotcha. Well, amidst all these price increases for Xbox,
Yeah, I think they'll be willing to license out more and more. Again, the example I've thought of is, or that it makes me think of, is just the Surface laptops. Like, they're going to have their own Surface laptops, but they also will put the Windows name on all sorts of different things. Probably tighter than Windows has been, where they're, of course, putting it on pretty much anything. But I do think that they're going to open it up a lot.
They've increased the price of Series X and S twice this year. They just increased the price of Game Pass Ultimate. Now it's sounding like their next console will be much more expensive. Sony has just knocked $125 off the PS5 on a limited time deal, I think running through Halloween. So yeah, you can get $125 off the PS5 digital or the slim version right now. So that's a great deal. I mean, if anyone out there has been on the fence about a PS5, now is the time. Max, what's going on with this? It's not even Black Friday.
Right? I love to do all my Christmas shopping before Halloween. Totally normal way to do that. Yeah, this is odd. It also, in traditional Sony fashion, hasn't been properly communicated much.
Right.
So
I
it
didn't
would be
know
cool
about
if this was a more permanent price cut, if they did that, because it would remind me of, not to be too nostalgic, but of previous console generations where games got, consoles got less expensive over time. But yeah, I mean, remains to be seen if at the very least the upside to them really raising the price so much on a permanent level is that they look like such a good guy when they do, like, hey, we're having a crazy sale, this is great. And it's cool.
It's a good harbinger for actual Black Friday too. If they're doing this kind of sale now, it means there's probably a good chance they're going to do something as good or better come Black Friday.
Yeah, viewers, listeners, if you've been wanting a PS5, right now is the time to buy direct from PlayStation.
Did you remember when they first revealed the PlayStation 5 and like we saw the look of it? It was so freaking weird looking, especially coming off of the PS4 era. Like,
it's not
what the hell
symmetric.
is
That's
this?
why.
What is that thing? Why is it shaped like that? Why does it look like that? It was such a bizarre design choice, but it was also more exciting.
I think there's just a
than
special
just like a
code you have
box.
to input at checkout. Just do a little search.
I will say, I still think that the PS4 Slim and then the PS4 Pro were goated because it's literally like the double-decker sandwich, and then you do the triple-decker sandwich for the Pro. I thought those consoles still, I think, look fantastic. I think overall, them calling it the Rolls-Royce of consoles, other than it just being freakishly expensive, is interesting. Because when I hear Rolls-Royce, I think of like ultra premium quality. And I've not gotten the vibe that that's what the next Xbox is going to be.
Yeah. They haven't done it.
I'm getting the vibe that it's just going to be really expensive. Like, maybe it does have incredible performance and it justifies that, but I've just not seen that personally. So I wouldn't call it Rolls-Royce. I think what they're going to try to do is they're trying to shake the perception that they are the brand associated with like affordability, with low cost, because that's not what they want anymore. They don't want people coming to them because they think that they have the cheapest offerings. They want people to come to them because they have the best offering in terms of Game Pass, or they have Call of Duty, or they have all of these other games available on cross-platform stuff, with like buy here, play anywhere, which is genuinely a really cool feature for some of these games. Buy it on Xbox, you can play it on your PC or on your console, on your couch. That's genuinely really, really cool. And so I think that they are going to try to just shift into being more of a premium brand, which I think is a better route to go. I also think for us, it probably means that there will be less of a lowest common denominator. This Xbox Series S, I think without a doubt, has held back this generation for cross-platform games, because anything that runs has to be able to run on the Series S, and that's definitely held back some of these games from being able to do everything they want to do. But next generation, it sounds like, based on the rumors, it could actually be Sony that takes that route, where they're rumored, as they suggested, to have a handheld device and or a smaller PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6S type console, which is a smaller Series S like console that's cheaper and weaker, but therefore more affordable. So it's going to be very, very interesting. This next generation is going to be unlike anything any of us have ever seen. It's going to be weird. It's not going to look like a typical console generation or console launch. They might not even be launching at the same time. There's reason to believe that they may actually launch staggered from each other, because historically we've gotten the Xbox and PlayStation launching at the same time. Might not be the case this time.
So the lesson of this not this video, but like what Xbox is doing, the lesson here is the console war is over. They've given up on exclusives, right? They're all going on Sony now because they want to get money, right? They're licensing these things out, which also tells me they probably don't have plans to make those games via Microsoft, via their own first party like developers, right? And it's like it kind of sucks, right? Because like I love that I love the rivalry. I love that because it made them try harder. And so this is kind of like they're putting up the white flag saying we give up. You could have them. You can have the audience that we've been fighting for. We're just gonna cater to the rich people. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. They're just kind of going, no, we're gonna cater to the 1% that has a lot of money. You guys can fight amongst the poor, right? That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from Xbox right now. And it's unfortunate because like think about it this way: if you were courting somebody for I don't know, man, like 20 years, probably longer than that, right? 20, 25 years on the Xbox since the Xbox OG to the 360 to the Xbox Series, Xbox One, whatever the Pro version of that, right? And then Series S, Series X. And you've been like, yeah, I've been a loyal Xbox gamer for this forever. Everybody has a breaking point. Is that breaking point $800 because of the markups? I guarantee the next one's probably going to be more than that. $1,000, $1,200. Are you that much of a fan to spend $1,000 on a console? Excuse me. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's not good. Not good.
Around. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see, but it's going to be very different. Very, very different. Samine, thank you for that super chat. If this opens up a market for this sort of devices, is it not inevitable that someone makes a more reasonable option for like half the price one day? It's going to be true always, but the goal is that they just get you entrenched in the ecosystem. So if you're entrenched and you own all of your games on Xbox or on PlayStation or Steam, even though there may be a more affordable option elsewhere or a better value proposition elsewhere, because you're entrenched in the ecosystem, that brings with it inherent value.
Did you see that comment? Oh, there it is. The head smiter. Is that what it is? The head smiter. Head smiter said PlayStation and Xbox have zero backwards compatibility, making PC the best choice overall. Well, first of all, that's not true, right? We don't. And like, what are they? What is he talking about? We're talking about. Is he talking about like accessories? Because we all can play PS4 games on our PS5, right? That's it. And it's like less and less over time. PS4, the biggest drawback to that was you weren't able to play your PS3 games on it, right? And the biggest drawback on the PS3 was they stopped supporting PS2 games on it. So, yeah, that's why PC is the overall best choice of all because of emulator. That's right, boys. That's right. But here's the thing. Do you do you think there's like one dude in the court in the boardroom literally just sitting there? You know that one comic strip where the angry CEO guy's like up on his desk and he's like, think of this. And then the one guy that's like this, right? And he's like, yeah, but what about emulation? And then the next scene is they're like throwing him out the window. That's literally this conversation right now. The emulator guy is that guy that's doing this in that comic strip. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, or or you guys think I'm crazy? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it immediately shows up with boardroom suggestion meme, right? Here it is. This is funny. Right there. Yeah, same guy thrown out the window. So yeah. See what I'm talking about? So you say, you know, place Xbox, the new Xbox is gonna be the best Xbox ever. Yeah, it's gonna be $1,200. Yeah, it's gonna be the best graphical system the Xbox can ever produce. And this dude's like, well, you can just emulate all that on a PC, right? You just emulate all that in a PC, and then they kill him. So that's kind of the point I was trying to make, is that's probably what happened to that guy. That's funny. You know what? The best part about this comic is I literally typed in board dude in boardroom comic, and that's what came up. So
it's like, yeah, I could swap over to that other console or to that other platform, but my library's here, and so that's worth some amount to me that doesn't make up. Fernando, thank you for the 5. I'm happy the Series S held back the gen. We already have crap optimization how it is. Imagine these guys without having to worry about the Series S. Yeah, I could see that. I think just in general, post-COVID, a lot of publishers have been trying to just shove stuff out quickly, and they're trying to get games running good enough instead of well. And it's why we should celebrate when we see games that are well optimized. It's why you should see a KCD2 and you should cheer and shout from the rooftops at how great it is, because that game is fantastically well optimized. Yeah. They want to be the Apple of consoles, but they lack the reputation. So if this new Xbox is really a high-end hardware, I think it is not really high-end hardware. I think it will fail. Yeah.
And Jagos, I don't know if you were here earlier for this piece of conversation, but I think smarter consumers, they will know that, like, it doesn't freaking matter how fancy your Xbox is with the best parts, the best hardware, right? But if developers continue to make shitty games like Borderlands 4, right? Then your $1,200 investment in your fancy little Xbox makes the game still run like trash, right? So that's kind of like what I was getting at earlier.
It's becoming the Apple of any industry. Takes years and years and years of really intense and careful, I think, marketing and presentation and manufacturing, and people have to see it and believe it by putting their hands on the product and seeing that it just feels
Correct.
more premium. And we've all felt it. Like if they
Maximilian is a pure example of this. Every time he streams, he says, I want to play the game where it's best performing, and it's usually 99% PC. So yeah, that you're correct, sir. No lies were told.
included, instead of a regular Xbox controller, they had the Elite 2s, these premium controllers, and these came in the box with every new Xbox. And the packaging was really premium, and it also has the best performance of any console. Then that would feel truly premium, and people would be willing to pay that premium price. But you have to follow it all the way through. You can't just slap a high price tag on something and call it premium. Like, the product itself has to be premium as well.
True.
That's a problem.
Facts. Oh my god.
He took my thing.
All right, guys. That was a video. Yeah, right? It covers the Tekken 3 PS5 port. I can't click on that. I don't. So I'm on a different platform. I can't click on that link. You gotta send it to me on Discord. But it's all good. I mean, we're nearing 10 o'clock now. I don't think I have time for another video. But yeah, I think that was really cool. I think like it that just those videos just made me more cynical about the gaming industry, honestly, right? Uh just the I don't know, just like the whole point, just the whole like the more people that got into our hobby, the more money that was pumped into our hobby, right? The more trash that we got. Like talent was acquiring talent wasn't their main priority. It was just creating content for the sake of content to for fillers. This is why we got the quality of games that we got in 2020. Right? They fired all the good people and they're like, "Hey, you want to work for a quarter of the cost? Here you go." And then they fired them again. Yes, sir. Yep. Yep. And it's funny too because like I'm playing games from like 2018, so I'm kind of like, oh, these games are good. Like I'm playing them now. So it's kind of funny when we say, well, how do we define old, right? How far back do we have to go? So yeah, that's really interesting, right? I'm just waiting for Soul Calibur 3 also. Yeah, Soul Calibur 3 I heard is coming out on the PlayStation Store. Namco is really getting in there. Namco did release like a survey on would you guys be interested in playing, classic games? And I said, dude, put them out. What's the harm, right? Just let them be playable. Let them be playable. People will buy it. Don't expect millions of downloads, but it's going to be a slow burn, right? Slow burn, slow access. I think it's more than that the corpos took it in one direction, but gamers are going into another. Um, yes, I think that corpos are like they look at data and charts all the time. You know, they look at data and charts all the time. They go, well, what's working, what's not working, what are trends, what are other companies doing, right? What's popular right now? We have people that I hire for this, right? And those people like they do searches and they study and they look at the trends but not the nuances of said trends, right? So like for example, like Fortnite, free to play BR game, right? But why do people like Fortnite so much? Oh, cuz it's free? Okay, well, it's free. But do they actually like it or is it because everybody is playing on it? Is it trendy? The barrier of entry is zero, just your download, right? Like there's no and then streamers made it popular. You know what I'm saying? Like, but is it a good game? No, but it's a game that makes money, right? So that's kind of like that's the two worlds we live in. The corporate world, where like, does this game make money? And we go, well, is this game fun? Is this a good game? Right? So to them, it's a good game if it sells because if people are buying it, it must be a good game. But we know that's not true, right? Man, Andre, I am waiting for a Xenosaga trilogy in like the way they did Dot Hack. Also a Dot Hack trilogy. Why not? Right? Upres it a little bit, streamline it a little bit more, right? Put it all into one disc. Bruh. And then something made in the factory. It's like so one of the most favorite games right now is Ball Pit. You guys know Ball Pit? right? And then Mega Bonk, of course. Mega Bonk is just Vampire Survivors, guys. Let's just call it what it is. Mega Bonk is just Vampire Survivors, but it's 3D, and no one has done a 3D Vampire Survivors before, right? And then what's the other one I was talking about? Mega Bonk and what else? People aren't going and playing DD Revive as much. Yeah, it's true. I mean, the one of the best examples of this 3-person team, right? Sold millions of copies. Hollow Knight, Silk Song. Literally took forever to make. All right, and let's think about, while I'm telling you this, think about another company that used to take for their games to forever to come out. Right? Silk Song took years and years, lots of delays, lots of, you know, I don't think there was a lot of transparency, but they were just saying, "Hey, it's not ready yet. We're going to push it back." And what did we get? A full single player experience with very little monetization on it, right? And made by 3 people and their passion. And it's good, right? So what do these big teams, what is their excuse? And if Nick was here, he'd give you all the excuses, right? Nick's good at that. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know what they're going through." Like, yeah, I know, but like the results there, bud. I don't know what to tell you. You know, Double Dragon Neon, yeah, for sure. Well, here's the thing: Double Dragon Revive, right? I bet you it's a fun game, and I've watched some videos on it. But yes, their art direction is questionable. Because think about it this way. Technically, arguably, right? Double Dragon Revive is a better game graphically. Hot take, right? But I'm gonna add that than Double Dragon Rise of the Dragons, right? But Rise of the Dragons is prettier to look at, right? So this is what I mean by like art versus graphics, right? And I'm not going to use Neon because Neon is way far back, but like yes, Double Dragon Neon, I would say artistically looks better than Double Dragon Revive. That's why I questioned them and why they went that direction, especially if they're from Arc System Works and they know they made games like River City Ransom, right? And the other Double Dragon games. Like what went on here? What was the choice made? And who approved it and said this was okay? Right? Double Dragon Gaiden arguably is a better looking game for what all I'm saying is if I was new to Double Dragon and the series, right? And I think maybe this is why Double Dragon Revive wins over, right? Because they're catering to like the newer gamer, not the experienced legacy gamer, right? One will say, oh, the graphics. I would say one Double Dragon Gaiden is old looking. I believe they would say that. Oh, this one has better graphics. It's 3D. There's 3D models, right? Etc. Etc. Oh, there's cooler flashes on the screen, whatever. And this is like before playing it, right? Before playing it. Now they probably will find out really quick that Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons, plays a lot better. Has a really cool, and I haven't played Revive yet, so can't really speak for it. But it has a really cool like choose your own level path mechanic to it, right? And it creates different experiences for you. I don't know if Revive has that, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like if you, I feel like the research done here was How do we get the player that's willing to spend money on these games if they know nothing about the game? Because we already know the fans will buy this game. So they go, well, I don't care what they think. They're gonna buy it anyway. It's a new Double Dragon game, right? So how do we get new people to buy this game? And I was like, and I that's exactly what the Xbox situation feels like. We go, let's screw all our fans that paid $200 to $500, now even $700 for a console, and let's only cater to the $1,200 people now because we've lost the console war, and we need to make our money back. Oh, our loyal fans? Well, if they are loyal to us, they'll buy it, right? But we want these new people, the rich, the best experience for gaming. Everything's an Xbox, right? Yada yada yada. All these buzzwords and stuff that if you look hard enough, they're really playing you for your hard-earned money. So, all right, guys. With that said, holy smokes, it's been a doozy of a night. Yeah, it's video game industry sucks. It's filled with people that do not care. AAA, these big companies, it's not the same companies that we grew up with. Just know that. Don't be loyal to a company. Be loyal to your own wallets, your own budget, your own hard-earned money. Make them work for your business, right? And always remember, you are the reason why they were in business. You, the consumer, consumes their product. If they for you to consume, you have to have a good product. If you don't have a good product, you won't consume. And if you don't consume, they don't have a company, right? And so just feel that you have more pull than you think, right? And you have more power than you think. But with that said, have a good night, guys. We'll see you Thursday? Question mark. I don't know. But this weekend I have D&D, so maybe Sunday morning. All right. Have a good night. Peace.